Thessaloniki has a saying, many stories, one heart. My story began in Melbourne Beach, Florida, 18 years ago. It was fairly consistent and predictable. I have always been an equestrian, I've always lived in a small beach town, and I followed the same academic footsteps my brother and sister had set before me. I knew my story was about to encounter a drastic change on St. Patrick's Day, when I was accepted into the NUin program. It was the exact type of change in my story I was looking for. It was the world letting me know it was ready for me in a big way. Upon arriving in Thessaloniki, I made connections between my new home and my old home. The water and sunset was the most comforting aspect. It didn't take me long to fall head over heels in love with Europe's youth hub. I made friends on the plane ride over, friends I would be lucky enough to have by my side my whole experience here. I was even fortunate enough to have one as my roommate. After a promising week, school began. ACT became my second home, and I loved every second of it. From the most personable professors you may ever encounter, to hours spent on homework, hours spent planning trips, or maybe even catching up on Netflix while waiting for the bus, ACT was a comfortable and happy place to be, an experience that can make or break study abroad. The student government planned parties for students to intermingle with local students and festive activities like pumpkin carving and a Thanksgiving lunch to make us feel at home.
I'm looking through the glass where the light bends at the cracks, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, pretending the echoes belong to someone I used to know.
While I loved all my classes, my global experience class is the one I benefited and grew from the most. I have a greater ambition to learn about the world around me and a greater feeling of responsibility to contribute to it in its entirety, not just my own corner of it. Global experience helps us become global citizens and blatantly addresses issues that are easy to turn a blind eye to. As part of my GE class, my service learning project was a dance banquet with handicapped citizens. Though I only got to meet these people once, it was so enriching to interact and spend time around people that you could not verbally communicate with given the language barrier. When not in school, I took the time to create my own global experiences when possible. Traveling in and outside of Greece was easily one of the highlights of the semester. My time spent in places like Santorini with my parents, Athens and Halkidiki with my Queen Olga family, Mount Olympus with ACT, and Vienna and Budapest with my closest friends filled my weekends with smiles, exquisite food, curiosity, and encouraged reflection on how fortunate it is to be living the life I am. I had a wake-up call to this when my roommate and other close friends were in Paris during the terrorist attack. Being so close, as I was traveling at the time too, emphasized the horrific heights people go to harm others, but reminded me, for every one of them, there are thousands of gentle, loving spirits to counter the terror. No one taught me this as well as the people in NUin and the incredible supportive staff. The staff was consistently planning activities like family dinner outings, cooking tours, trivia nights, a Halloween party, a final banquet, and many more. Friendships were constantly sprouting and flourishing, even in the last couple weeks. The intellectual, embracing, open-minded people I was constantly surrounded by in NUin Greece reassured me that I am in the right place and on the right path. I learned that whenever I ended up somewhere I wasn't familiar with, be it in the city or in life, to take advantage of being out of your comfort zone, and life will reward you in the most enriching of ways.
Flames to dust, lovers to friends. Why do all good things come to an end? Flames to dust, lovers to friends. Why do all good things come to an end? Come to an end.
I chose Greece because I wanted to open up the door to an opportunity few are given. What I didn't know is, from then on, I couldn't choose the types of change I encountered, I could only control my reactions to them. I sought after predictability and found serendipity. I looked for old and found new. I searched for answers, and now I only have more questions. The difference is now I'm not afraid to ask them. And while I walked in knowing the world was ready for me, I walked out knowing I was ready for the world.